What's happening, guys? Welcome along to another episode of 420 News, guys. It is Wednesday midweek. Hope you're all surviving well out there. Hopefully you're not getting interfered with by the boys in blue. Yes, the old Gardai Shikalani. Hopefully none of you are as part of any of the news featured in today's 420 News, because unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of positive to be reporting on. There's a couple of people had their cannabis taken off them by the Gardaí, as is normally the case here on 420 News. I absolutely hate reporting on these stories, but unfortunately, that's the environment in which we live in as cannabis consumers in Ireland currently. But on more positive news, I don't know if I just say this is positive or what. I zoom in for this one. We get close up. Yes, closer. Oh, lovely. Oh, green screen is going to kill me on this one, actually, because the bud is green. So you're not getting the full picture of what this is, because it's trying to blend in with the background there. But this is 8472. That's the name of the strain. It's it's the love child of Temple Grower. So Temple Grower is 8472. And that was the breeder, but the grower then was our buddy, old pal, Greenbeard over there on the high and homegrown. So that's what we're talking up today, after running out of crop there from me buddy, the thank you Shannon over there, King Crop 420. If you're out there listening, buddy, give us a call there later on. We smoked up the last of the old amnesia earlier on today. But yes, today we do have some of the 8472 from Greenbeard. Fucking savage stuff, in fairness. Greenbeard, man, credits to you, dude. Top quality grown. Like, the density here inside in this nug, it's fucking nobody's business. It's ridiculous. Like, it's so dense, but not overly dense where you got a risk of mold or anything inside of there. Like, you know, just perfectly proportioned. Oh jeez, I just picked that apart there into the grinder, and the smell that's just coming out of it, it's absolutely ridiculous. So again, Greenbeard, nice one, dude. At King Crop 420 over there in Snapchat, gets a holla. Holy moly, this stuff is tough to grind up there. Oh, there we go. Now it's going. The smells now are even fucking more potent at the moment. Oh, yummy, delicious. Yes, we'll pack that up there, guys, and we'll get an old bit of civil disobedience on the way. Before we get into today's 420 News, we'll give a quick shout out to everybody who's after taking the time to get an old comment in there as well. And we'll get rocking them with the show. Right, pack up this bowl first of all. Priority number one. Who is that? Fragilities. What's going on, Fragilities? Nice one for the follow today. Sweet, appreciate it. So boom, there we go. We have a bowl of a lovely bit of green. Ah yeah, the green screen is just going to kill this. One downside of the green screen and having a cannabis themed show is you can't really show off your cannabis unless you turn off the green screen. Alright, so we've this one to blaze up. So 8472, courtesy of Greenbeard. But don't forget, guys, if you're in Cork City and if you're stuck for a bit of herb as well, give King Crop 420 a follow there over on Snapchat, and they'll look after you. Oh, so tasty, Greenbeard. So tasty. Oh. Genetics, I believe, all the way is from Canada, and the herb itself was grown here in Ireland. And I have to say, like, 10 out of 10 to both the breeder and the grower. Absolute superb quality. So, right, let's drive on, guys, and I want to give a shout out to the guys at the Kerry Cannabis Club, and give you a reminder of the picnic in the park for Cannabis Reform Ireland, and bring Alicia home. So guys, give this a share there over on social media if you'd like a copy of the poster to upload it to your own social media, just pop me a message and I have no problem at all sending it to you. I also have a Facebook banner version of it as well that was all kindly made by the Irish Hemp Harvest, who've also extended their help to many other campaigners out there. So if you'd like to have Irish Hemp Harvest create a poster for an event that you're organising, then don't hesitate to get in touch with the good fellow. An amazing piece of artwork there he put together, and what will be, I'd imagine, an amazing day once the ganja gods grace us with sunshine, which it looks as if they will be. The long-range forecast at the moment is predicting sunshine for Killarney on the 21st of August. So get your tents ready, guys. Get your sleeping bags ready. I believe that would be a good way to attend this protest by camping out. But as well, Killarney, as you know, has got some amazing hotels, B&Bs as well. So no shortage of choices there. But yes, the sun is looking like it will be joining us on the 21st of August again, like it did on the 7th of August here in Cork. So it should be a great day. 2 o'clock down at the Killarney National Park, a protest for cannabis reform in Ireland. And for the many patients, one of them being Alicia. So guys, give this a share. Use the hashtag Cannabis Reform Ireland and hashtag Bring Alicia Home. So yeah, Irish Hemp Harvest is out there in the audience saying happy to help any cannabis clubs around Ireland. Legend. There we go, guys. The community looking after one and all. So DBO Craft is out there as well. What's going on, DBO Craft? Nice one again for that prize to the raffle last week. Much appreciated for your contribution. Sean Michael's out in the audience. We've Daily Toker, Podge 85, Hebsy Girl. What's going on, Hebsy? John Finnegan is out there as well. Podge 85. Mark Andrew Morgan. We have Verbal Kint. What's going on, Verbal Kint? Verbal Kint is asking, are you the guy that left the plant outside Martin's office? I am indeed. That was me, yes. And that news has actually made it again as far as Canada. Yeah, it was the Virginia Leader recently covering that action of mine where I brought a cannabis plant to the office of Micheál Martin, the Taoiseach of Ireland, or Prime Minister, depending on where you're looking at that from. But yeah, I done it for not only the patients, but for the many people criminalised for cannabis use, and also for our planet, which I believe could benefit from cannabis being unprohibited. Yes, I'd love to see our farmers allowed more freedom to grow this for both the industrial uses, the medical uses, and the recreational uses, if you will. So nice one for that question there, Verbal. Hope you're well. John O'Regan is out there as well saying, good morning, Martin. Are you just after waking up, John? Whereabouts are you in the world that it's morning time, pal? It's 4:20 here, buddy. But what's happening, John? Hope you're doing good, buddy. Who else is out there that I haven't said hi to? Hype is out there as well. What's happening, Hype? Some rare greens today, yes. Dahi man, and what's going on, Dahi? Says, tell 8472 to shout me up. I'm stuck. Dahi, if you're over on Snapchat, bud, give King Crop 420 an ad. Just type his name into the search bar and you'll be able to find him. And he's got some nice haze there at the moment. That's over on Snapchat if you are stuck. My buddy with the A472, he's not in Cork, and unfortunately it was just a gift that he hooked me up with out of his own stash. He doesn't really grow it to sell, but King Crop 420 over on Snapchat certainly will be able to look after you. R420s is out there as well. What's going on, R420 Supplies? And John Finnegan. What's going on, John? Skatanist is out there as well. Russell Banta. What's going on, Russell Banta? What's going down? Guys, I was going to give a shout out to him in a little while, but I just give Jesus, I have to pop up his YouTube there now again. Slurban Tales. Give him a follow there over on YouTube. So I'll pop up his page here. Just so you can see this, but that's Dr. Russell Banta, and I believe he will be doing some cannabis themed productions and stuff like that. So give him an old follow there if you haven't done so already. Slurban Tales over there on YouTube. Yes, that is our good old buddy Russell Banta, who I did interview about a month or so ago. If you want to check that one out, what a frequent contributor here to the show. In fact, he is the young Jamie of the show. So, Slurban Tales, they're over on YouTube. Welcome to the show, Russell. Hope you're well, buddy. And Keith Griffin is out there as well. Keith saying, what up, Martin? It's been a while. Hope you're well, Keith. Who else is out there I haven't said hi to yet? That is everybody, I believe. Danny Butler, what's going on, Danny? And we have Gerald Kelly, Slimmer Slime. Monsieur, what's going on, Monsieur? Recently engaged. Yes, Monsieur and Chloe, congratulations again, guys. Monsieur saying, you're all bats about to die walking the 1.5 hours back from town. Enjoy the walk, Monsieur. And we have Bernard Splendid out there as well. 10 minutes late, Bernard, but better late than never anyway, buddy. Amy Riley's out there as well. WRT Gunner. And that is it. Oh, Greenbeard, welcome along, Greenbeard. Greenbeard, you got a shout out there earlier because guess what? This was the end of that lovely bud that you gave me. It's now grinded up here in the lovely grinder from R420 Supplies. Yes, shout out to R420 in the audience at the moment as well. Everybody's getting a shout out today. But yeah, we just grinded up the last of the A472 there earlier, GB, and absolutely fucking 10 out of 10 mud. Knocked it out of the park. Delivered on just the potency, delivered on the fragrance, delivered on the appearance, just the overall just handling of the bud as well. I just loved the density that was there. Loved how you just break into it and it just release smell as you go. Oh yeah, lovely stuff. Oh. So nice one again, GV. And Dave AK just joined there as well. What's going on, Dave AK? Alright, let's get nice and hydrated before we crack on into it. Yeah, Mark Andrew Morgan saying, like and share, guys and gals. So yes, listen to buddy Mark there. Guys, like and share. So the first headline then outside of the cannabis reform protest in Kerry is that Councillor Chris Pender has issued a warning over on Facebook about cannabis that's potentially sprayed around the Kildare and Dublin area. So this is a warning that was up on Facebook, and it was brought to my attention by Amy from Endometriosis Awareness. She was on a podcast there about a month or so ago also. Endo with Amy actually was the Instagram for herself, but she brought this to my awareness there just a little bit earlier today. And this is a post that was put up by Councillor Chris Pender. So Councillor Chris Pender put out this cannabis warning. Ireland is the headline. He says there's contaminated cannabis circulating in both Kildare and Dublin at present. It smells a little off, kind of like perfume, and when examined under a magnifying glass it shows white hair-like substances and white blobs rather than the usual trichomes. The little white hairs are present on the stems just as much as they are on the plant matter, which suggests that it's been sprayed or dipped in something. If smoked, it's said to produce an unpleasant, panicky type of high and is extremely potent. Please note that it's not totally obvious. In fact, under the naked eye, it looks absolutely fine. I would encourage others to closely examine what they purchase and at least do not consume it if you are lucky enough to pick some up. If you are unlucky enough to pick some up. He says, stay safe, stay healthy. And yes, he uses the hashtag Cannabis Reform Ireland. Very nice to see that there. I do believe this was someone else's post that might have shared it with Councillor Chris Pender. But well done to whoever that was. I do believe I seen this earlier, maybe sometime yesterday on somebody else's maybe Twitter or Instagram. The pictures look familiar as well, but I don't think Councillor Chris Pender is a consumer himself, so I don't think this is his cannabis. But this is the images that have been shared, and I do believe I've seen them somewhere else. If you're out there in the audience at the moment, make yourself known there to me. But yeah, these are the images, and this was the kind of the very close up one. You see this hair; it looks very off. You know, all of these white hairs on the outside of just I don't know. That doesn't look right at all. To me, this would look more. I don't know, like a kind of a fungal growth, if anything, like a load of mycelial strands, but it doesn't really meet what you would imagine to be seen under the microscope on cannabis. I don't know, can you see a few resin heads there at all? But very few, if any at all. Like none are glaringly obvious to me. You should look at a close-up of cannabis, close-up, just for comparison. Like, what it should look like. I should have had this prepared for you. But this is what you would expect to be finding on the tips of the cannabis plant, or on the buds. Is images such as these. Much more fuller trichomes there with a resin, kind of a bulbous head at the end of it. This is the resin head there that you should be seeing. Sometimes, yeah, you can have mishandling of cannabis plants that could, when it's dried out, knock off that resin head. But still, you wouldn't be seeing it the way it's been seen there in the photo, and just looking for others. Like, this is something more like what you would expect to see, what you would hope to see, these images of the cannabis that are there popping up on screen now. But that's certainly that's not what is being seen here. This looks highly irregular, what's being pictured here on this cannabis. So again, just be cautious out there, guys. If you can at all, grow your own cannabis. That's my word of advice. Grow your own cannabis. If you can't grow your own cannabis, then be very cautious where you're getting it. I showed the images of the compressed blocks of cannabis that were seized last week. It was a €2 million worth of cannabis that was seized above in the mail port, I believe it was. But it was incredibly compressed in blocks, almost resembling what I thought were like sheets of hash, like the slabs of hash. But they said it was herbal cannabis. And if that's the case, like, there you have a high potential there for molds and bacteria and stuff like that to get to unsafe levels in your cannabis. So again, yes, hashtag Cannabis Reform Ireland. This is not what we want. What do we want? Safe access, and how do we get that? With a safe supply. So be warned, guys. Kildare and Dublin, dodgy cannabis seems to be doing the rounds. But all of Ireland, guys, just always be cautious. Get yourself what's it called? A jeweler's loop, or a little handheld magnifying glass. That's what you're looking for. A jeweler's loop normally comes with a 4x and a 25x magnification, and are really useful in situations like this to get a nice close-up of your cannabis and to be able to detect irregularities that you won't be able to see with the naked eye. A jeweler's loop is incredibly inexpensive as well, as little as 10 to 15 quid there. Probably a fiver actually over on Amazon you'd find one for. But certainly worth having anyway, just to be careful. And if you're a person who grows your own cannabis, then again, it's actually really nice to have a jeweler's loop to get a little close up and watch those resin heads and get to determine harvest time as well, more importantly. So yeah, be warned, guys, dodgy stuff out there, possibly sprayed with maybe a synthetic cannabinoid or something like that, given that it brings about a panicky high once consumed as well. So be careful out there, guys. So we drive on then, guys, and the next headline is some doctors say that they will shun the state's medical cannabis program. And I do believe this has been doing the rounds out there at the moment. It was featured on the radio there. I heard it as I was on the way to a doctor's appointment earlier on today. Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation doing the rounds on this one, to be very honest, and it's rather annoying, the misinformation that is out there doing the rounds. I'm being spread by some of these doctors. There was the Dr. Colin Doherty, I believe is his name. Sorry, no, I'm just going to make sure I'm getting the correct name here for this doctor. Colin Doherty, yeah, I'm recalling the correct name, but he was on the radio earlier, and he's a consultant neurologist at the St. James Hospitals, and he was talking about, like, how CBD was the holy grail, if you will, that, and he was completely disregarding THC's role in it. He went as far as to say, that there's not enough research there, but if there's more research comes out, I'll support THC then. But what I just really annoys me was the fact that he didn't actually talk about the quality of research that is there currently. The fact that there's an absence of research, and there's a need for more research there too. He talks about the dangers of THC. Well, a lot of these dangers of THC, when we look into the studies, well, they're very largely flawed in how they're carried out. They don't acknowledge the population, the studies population, and the flaws within it. A lot of the times they're looking at people who are within addiction services already and stuff like that, and it completely ignores the 90% of people, if that, you can imagine that there's probably even more that would use cannabis without a problem, so that's a lot of the times the problem of these studies. They disregard this. They just focus in on harms being displayed within a population that probably would have displayed these harms anyway, should they have been with any other substance, but Colin Doherty anyway went on and he completely disregarded the fact that THC has a role to play in the reduction of seizures within patients. So it's very unfortunate. And he was also joined by Dr. Peter with S. Walsh, and he's also a consultant neurologist, but at the Beaumont Hospital. And he was talking with News Talk, and he said that he's particularly concerned about its use in children. And he goes on to say then, for example, with vaccines, we all wanted to know that they went through rigorous trials before everybody started to take them. So we have had rigorous trials for CBD, and we don't have it for THC. We know there has potential for side effects, psychoactive side effects, and we don't fully know its effect on children and their development. With the products that are in the program at the moment, one might have to use high doses to get up to the therapeutic level, and we have concerns, and that's the therapeutic level of CBD he's talking about here. And he says we have concerns about the safety of that, and we are not prepared to use them. And in fact, actually, some of these doctors were a part of the talks with the HPRA at the time of developing the Cannabis Access Programme and the 3 recommendations that were made. These doctors actually believed that the Medical Cannabis Access Programme was for CBD. They didn't intend it for THC, and that's coming from Dr. Colin Doherty himself, as per his radio interview earlier today with Pat Kenny. But yeah, he didn't. The Medical Cannabis Access Programme, when intended for epilepsy use, wasn't intended for THC use. But Vera Twomey has responded in this. And she's come out, and I'll pop up Vera Twomey's response to some of these doctors and what they're saying here, because I believe there is a lot of misinformation here in this, and it needs to be countered. Is Vera Twomey after becoming a persona non grata with the radio and with all of these journalists, because it's well known now that she's been a campaigner for access for her daughter who's used these medications. She started with CBD. CBD stopped working after a number of months. The frequency of seizures was increasing under CBD medicine alone. I believe it was Charlotte's Web she was using. But the seizures were returning. And since now getting access to the Bedrocan, things have vastly improved. So again, completely counters what Colin Doherty is saying. And he will dismiss that as being, it's anecdotal evidence, and I'm a scientist and I'll only go by the golden standards. But come here, acknowledge the environment that's been around cannabis at the moment. The research is ridiculously limited. It's ridiculously limited because of the barriers in place to get access to cannabis to carry out the studies, because of its scheduling. You won't acknowledge that when you talk about it, and you have to acknowledge this when talking about it, because this is incredibly limited, the studies there. So therefore, the best we have available at the moment is a lot of anecdotal evidence, but the anecdotal evidence, it's repetitive, it's consistent. And that's the thing about it that shouldn't be ignored. There is evidence out there in the form of studies, scientific studies, that have shown the efficacy of cannabis for epilepsy, for chronic pain, and for X, Y, and Z. But epilepsy is the subject of matter here, and you look at the Barnes report. What does it conclude with? While there isn't a whole host of the golden grail, double-blind, randomized, controlled studies, there certainly is evidence that warrants further investigation into cannabis for epilepsy use, but meanwhile it is showing positive uses there, and Vera Twomey is one who will speak highly of that. So I'll pop her story up, and her response, to this recent article up on screen now. So this was posted up there yesterday at 12:30. Just get a bit bigger for you. She goes to say that THC medication is an essential component for long-term seizure freedom. Those of us who have had access to it legally for several years, including Karen Gray, Hannah Deacon and Tani Montgomery, will testify to the incredible medicinal properties and the absence of negative side effects. None of us as parents took the difficult journey to access it legally without being absolutely certain we were doing the right thing for our children. Our consultants remain flabbergasted and delighted at the seizure control we are maintaining. And that is with THC. So she goes on to say, the studies required by doctors surrounding THC are hindered by its status as a controlled drug in many countries and lies some way off. In the interim, it is the patients who will suffer, and damn right, she's so right here. It is devastatingly sad that while weeks, months and years have passed daily and even hourly, seizures control the lives of many people who will now be denied long-term seizure control with the addition of THC. With the addition of THC would bring them. There will be patients who won't survive until the required evidence is obtained, and this makes me feel so desperately sad, as I have spent a happy morning walking with my daughter Ava, who would not have been able to enjoy that simple pleasure without CBD and THC combined. If I had witnessed the negative side effects to THC, I would have declared them long ago. I have not witnessed negative, only positive results. God knows I witnessed enough negative side effects and pharmaceutical medication to be able to recognise them. COVID-19 and lack of socialisation was the biggest challenge we faced in the last years to battle against the regression. To battle against the regression, THC is not an enemy, it is companion medication to CBD, and that's certainly been backed up as well in some of the studies out there too. So many patients find CBD oil will contain seizures for 6 to 8 months, and it is the advent of THC introduction that brings the long-term seizure freedom. I would also point out that in 2015, when I raised CBD oil for the first time, I was met with a stone wall of silence. 6 years later, the consultants publicly say CBD is a valid option, and in time they will also say that THC is a valid medication, an option for children and adults. But what makes me choke as I'm writing this is until they are dragged into reality of both CBD and THC as a medication, how many people will suffer and how many mothers' hearts will break trying to get this medication for their kids. I know about the heartbreak, and therefore it's a fright to God to sit here almost guilty for having access and therefore the benefits while others will be denied. Please don't let them deny or frighten you into thinking THC is a dangerous option. And as I have spent the morning enjoying the simple pleasures of walking in the garden with Ava, it is because of CBD and THC she is here, and it is because of it we have and maintain the privilege of the company of my little girl. And that's the response there to some doctors say they will shun the state's medical cannabis access program once it actually becomes active, if it ever becomes active, and a lot of people out there again giving support to Vera after putting up this statement, but too rightly so, and I have to wonder why it is that they haven't got in touch with Vera to follow up on this. But she put up a few other replies up there to this as well. And she says, anyone, anywhere, anytime can come talk to me about the positive effects of THC, but be prepared it will be a long conversation. Employing my daughter's THC medication is of danger, is a highly emotive and offensive and untrue. Never, never, never would I administer something dangerous to my Ava. I would rather place myself in mortal danger before I would. I am perfectly serious. 20, 30, 40 seizures a day or more eliminated by CBD and THC. The threat of further brain damage removed almost completely. The thought of a negative campaign towards such a remarkable medication as CBD and THC is in the full flow within the Republic of Ireland is a complete and utter disgusting travesty, and I 100% agree with you, Vera, and I think it's fuel now that we need as campaigners to rise up against this campaign of misinformation and scaremongering around THC and cannabis. It's ridiculous that it continues here, but it is. And it's very much evident there within the article that was up on the Irish Times recently. Vera goes on to say then, the thought that families will be scared off exploring the option of THC medication by such extraordinary and unjustified measures such as refusing to acknowledge the programme set up to prescribe CBD and THC medication is one of the most destructive steps I have seen in 7 years and smacks of desperation to stop access to cannabis medication. It is clear that the public are aware and informed of the benefits of medical cannabis, because if they were not, consultants would not be trying to create more barriers to access. I applaud the consultants sensible enough to prescribe this life-saving medication. I do not want to consider in much detail the real reasons why other consultants do not. But what I do say is no, no, no to negative and unjustifiable degrading of my daughter's medication. No, no, no. Efforts to block the progress may work temporarily, but those of you trying will not and cannot stop access indefinitely. Absolutely not. So great to see Vera out there just speaking against this campaign. While I say it's great to see it's also really annoying that she has to continue this campaign, you know, against this misinformation. It would be much more pleasurable to think that Vera is off enjoying her mornings and her days with her kids and not having to campaign and to be an activist, you know, for other patients out there. It would be much more beneficial if these neurologists and consultants would just educate themselves a little bit as to the campaign that existed around prohibition, the misinformation around cannabis, which generated much of the negative studies, you know, the studies with the negative outcomes of cannabis use, you know, what was it, between the 70s and the 2000s, maybe even up to 2010, was it over 70% of the studies into cannabis were to investigate the negative effects of cannabis. If you would have went back to before 2000, it would have been almost 90%, you know. That's quite, you know, it's nice to see the shift now, you know, between, you know, a nice 20% gain back there for the positive studies in maybe a 10-year period. But to think, like, before the year 2000, over 90% of the studies into cannabis were to find out the negative effects. And that's because grants would not be given. If you went in and said, hey, I'm looking to study cannabis to see if it's useful for kids in epilepsy, you know, you wouldn't have been given the grant. You would have been laughed at. You're doing, what do you mean you want to give kids cannabis? What, kids smoking joints? Jesus, lad, get on out the door. Like, do you want to go on away with your wacky idea before we call the Gardai on you? But that's the reality that was out there. I experienced it myself only about 4 years ago. About 5 years ago, 2016 maybe, doing pharmacology, and I was doing a project into the pharmacology of cannabis, and I done a project specifically looking at the pharmacology of cannabis for epilepsy. And like THC certainly played a role. And again, the power is in the dose, you know, because too much can actually trigger seizures for some patients. But that's known about epilepsy medications, you know, too much of an epilepsy medication can actually cause seizures. That's true for cannabis also. But the dangers are not as grave as the pharmaceutical medications. You know, there's a much finer line with the pharmaceutical medications, where there's a greater window to play with for cannabis medications. And again, there's warrants for more investigation so we can better understand how cannabis works within the human body. Again, as I said, I was only bringing it up last week on the show how in America now you can have your saliva tested, for you to get an indication as to how your body will metabolize cannabis and to get a better idea as to what dose you should be looking for, and maybe better ratios of CBD and THC to be working with, based upon your genetic profile. This is the kind of studies that we need to be carrying out, and this is the kind of education we need to be giving to consumers of cannabis, and more importantly to the patients too. So again, I definitely support Vera Twomey there in all of what she said. It's absolutely ridiculous that these neurologists would be going out with such a campaign. Instead, they should be campaigning for maybe more studies. Why isn't there a publicly funded study after being launched maybe 5 years ago when this was first brought to light by Gino Kenny with his bill, or maybe even longer again, and 8 years ago there with Luke Ming Flanagan's bill? Why was there not studies being done? Why was there not neurologists, the Colin Dohertys, coming forward and saying, hey, look, there's something going on here with cannabis and epilepsy. We would like to do some studies into this. We would like to use state money to grow cannabis, to develop a product that might help he says maybe 400 to 500 people. There's a lot more people in Ireland with epilepsy. He's talking about the 400 to 500 people who might have refractory epilepsy. But maybe with proper studies, we could find out that actually cannabis is much better than all of these other medications we are letting patients try first. And that should be the first thing patients should try. And if it doesn't work, then we go on to maybe explore other medications and surgeries and all of that stuff. But no, unfortunately, that's not what these guys are doing. They're campaigning against THC. They're campaigning for CBD alone. Does Colin Doherty have secretly got some investments there in some of these? I don't know. He talks a lot about Epidiolex. Is he after investing there into GW Pharmaceuticals, which was recently bought up for 7.2 billion? It wouldn't surprise me if there was something like that going on in the background of some of these dudes, because they probably got money to invest in things like that anyway. So stranger things have happened, guys, Not to be a big conspiracy theorist or anything like that. But you just look not too far away, while these neurologists, these doctors will campaign against medical cannabis and the access to it, we look across to Germany. And there was an article in the Forbes magazine with this headline, how big is Germany's medical cannabis market? And how big is it? It's freaking big, In Germany, it's said to probably have the most advanced medical cannabis access program in all of Europe. In terms of legitimate ones, I know there's very good access for patients in other European states, but a legitimate, prescribed by their doctors, I suppose. It's Germany, and they estimate that by 2024 they will have over 1 million people in Germany given access to medical cannabis. With already they have in Germany, and just to get up the stats there, in Germany they've already prescribed over 128,000 people medical cannabis. So to the neurologists who are out there warning about the dangers of THC, well, what's going on? Why aren't we seeing in say California, where they've had access to medical cannabis for, is it over 20 years now, maybe 30 years? Why aren't we seeing the harms of THC portrayed in the statistics over there? We're not seeing it, we're not seeing massive admissions to mental health services or none of this kind of scaremongering rhetoric. None of that stuff is coming true at all. So we know it's untrue, yet they continue to push this propaganda here. But over in Germany anyway, as I say, they've prescribed 128,000 patients already cannabis, and that includes high THC cannabis. Yes, high THC cannabis. It's estimated that by 2024 the market will have grown to over 1 million patients, and it will be worth 7.7 billion euros. Yes, 7.7 billion. What a shame Ireland is just dragging its heels here in this. Gino Kenny brought a bill forward in 2016. we could have been participating in this. We could have been at the forefront of the production of cannabis within Europe. We could have set up a state-sponsored medical cannabis production facility and reap the rewards. They're back into it. Instead, what are we doing? We're bringing in these Canadian companies, the American companies. They're coming over because that's who's over there growing it in Canada at the moment, or sorry, not in Canada, in Germany at the moment. It's the Canadian company Canopy Growth, Aferia, Aurora, and Cllr. They're all over there, based grown through subsidiaries within Germany, and they're importing it then through other subsidiaries into Germany to provide it to the patients. They've only one German-born company over there by the name of Demican, Demecan. And if you want to check them out, actually, I'll pop them up on screen there now so you can see them. 1 second there now, and I'll pop them up on screen, because they actually have jobs if people are looking to relocate within Europe and whatnot. And if you're thinking of going to Germany, then check these guys out at the moment if you would like to work within the medical cannabis market, that is. Check them out. They have careers over there, so just hit up the career page, and I'll just pop this up on screen. So to the vacancies. So these are some of the vacancies that they have up there right now. So it's in German. I will translate it there for you guys because I can't understand that. But I was interested in one myself a while ago. This one right here, quality control and laboratory assistant. I would love to do that. Unfortunately, look, I've a child on the way, and relocating to Germany is just something that's not really within the things I can do right now. But man, what a bummer it is that we don't have these jobs available here in Ireland, you know, that I would have to relocate. Reject, boom. So I would have to relocate to Germany to be able to avail of this, like, you know, and it'd be great, growing high quality cannabis, getting it out there to the consumers. I would much prefer to do this for maybe a state sponsored company, you know, where it's maybe not so capital driven, not where the profit is the end all, the be all, the Jazz Pharmaceuticals, the GWs and all of that. Like, you know, these guys are very much interested in their investors. For me, I would be very much interested in producing cannabis, getting it to the people who need it for medical reasons, for the lowest price possible, if at all free maybe. And if any money was generated within that, then it goes back into research and understanding cannabis, you know, by investing into universities and stuff like that. Maybe it's grown by the universities, processed by the universities, by a company set up by the universities. I don't know, like, but I just hate to see profit within medicine, you know, and all of that. But that's just me. I'm a guy with very modest means, living very modestly. Don't have high needs, you know. Give me a fishing rod and me dogs and my chickens and stuff like that, and I'm quite happy, like, you know. But man, what it would be to be able to work in a job like this, like, you know, and what they offer over there, like, you know, they offer an exciting development opportunities in a growing company. I don't know, is there a bit of a pun intended in that? Yes, I love them already. Like, these are my kind of guys. Interesting challenges in a new market, an open work culture, and uncomplicated working with each other. Maybe that's a problem with a translation there, but a friendly and professional team, and a fair pay based on qualifications and experience. And they say, if you want to achieve great things with us and have a positive attitude towards medical cannabis, I'd imagine that's a lot of you out there, then we look forward to receiving your application. Let us know why you are the right person for this job and what motivates you to want to work at Demican. So there you go, guys. Like, to the single folk out there, the couples maybe without kids, to those of you who it's easier to relocate, or to those of you already in Germany, they're looking for people up there. If any of those jobs that were on screen earlier tickle your fancy, then get it out there, you know, get applying. So we drive on from there. I have a few bits actually to finish up on that. Actually, Germany actually distributed a record of almost 10 tons of cannabis in 2020, and that was on import. because the distribution of the stuff produced in Germany has only started just very recently. I believe it only started in June or July of this year. July of this year, actually, yeah, July 2021. So just last month was the first month where German-grown medical cannabis became available for the first time within Germany. Despite it actually being made illegal there since 2017. And over 100,000 patients having access. So do you know what? It's crazy. Like these guys on the outside, these companies coming in from places like Canada and stuff like that, where they've had a bit more liberal markets, a bit more freedom to explore and set up these companies. They're coming in now. They're almost like vultures, you know, flying around Europe, waiting to pick up, you know, off the carcasses because of prohibition, you know, that are left behind, you know, the lack of research being one of those carcasses. They're feeding and benefiting off of this because, you know, they know the benefits already, and that's no secret. So yeah, it's a shame. The first bit of German produced cannabis only becoming available there last year. Yeah, that's it really on the German one. They're just kind of talking about here that the companies coming in from Canada and stuff are coming in to benefit off of the Europeans market, which again, and it's actually crediting prohibition in part for that because of the inability for people to grow their own cannabis. They're getting to there, the lack of ability to access cannabis also within that. Therefore, there's more money for the boys here that they're not able to get over in places like Canada and America. So we drive on, then we come back a little to some of the more depressing stories of Ireland, where in the Midlands, the Gardai have made a discovery of a cannabis grow house. Yes, a cannabis grow house. Woo! It wasn't stated how much cannabis was discovered here, but this was a discovery that was made after a search of a house in Edenderry at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. All it said here within the article is a large quantity of drugs was seized. No arrests have been made and investigations are ongoing. Well done to the Gardai. What a waste of time destroying, again, you know, a crop that's bringing so much benefit to many people out there, and it's only harming such a small minority. In fact, the Gardai are doing much greater harm than the people growing this cannabis. So we need to turn this around. We really need to lift this prohibition and free our growers. Let our people grow. Yes, let our people grow. Free the weed. Other comments, I see the boys going on about the reverb out there. I was just getting distracted there by some of the comments coming in. I thought that was something important happening. Nice. We drive on and we go to other stories within Ireland, because there was cannabis and cocaine seized after teenagers were caught up in a raid in Offaly. This happened in a Laois Offaly area after the Gardai seized €5,000 worth of the cannabis and cocaine from the two juveniles. This was the Divisional Drug Unit. They carried out a search in Tullamore Town on August 10th. So that was yesterday, and during the course of the search they recovered approximately €2,800 worth of cannabis and approximately €2,400 worth of cocaine. So €5,200 actually in total there, that would come to €5,300 actually, apologies. Yeah, no, 5,200. Yeah, that's my final answer. I'm sticking to that one. So €5,200, a lot of drugs there for two juveniles to have. They don't give the age of the juveniles, but I'd imagine like what, 16, 17 probably. Oh, excuse me. But you know, maybe like, would you say juvenile for 17? Would you say young adults? I don't know. Yeah, juvenile would probably be 17 too. But this was as part, again, as this Operation Tara. Again, we've talked about this at the launch, the inception of Operation Tara, how it's going to target the most vulnerable. These two juveniles, were they just mules? Were they just being used to bring drugs from point A to point B? Were they working off a drug debt? Were they from maybe a disadvantaged background? You know, were they failed by the system? Do you know, because they weren't able to get access to the services by the likes of Jared Rowe, because, you know, it's underfunded and all of this. Like, you know, for whatever reason, these young fellas were vulnerable. They got caught up in the trade of drugs, and now they're caught by the cops. I know, John, that they're going to be brought through the criminal justice system, which isn't great. It's not great. The being juvenile maybe will be to their benefit, because they won't be treated like adults. They'll be able to be treated under the juvenile system and stuff like that, get the old juvenile warning and what have you. You would think that they would anyway, like, but it is, you know, it's quite a bit of drugs, I suppose. It's not a 50 bag, like, you know, and it's not a single bag. It's enough to warrant sale and supply there for the two of them. But clearly, you know, again, Operation Tara failing to really protect people. They say here within this that the goal of Operation Tara is to protect communities from the scourge of illegal drugs, in line with An Garda Síochána's mission of keeping people safe. And I have that here by bold, like, you know, our mission for the next 3 years is as important as it is simple: keeping people safe. As guardians of the peace, keeping people safe and safeguarding human rights is central to what we do. Keeping people safe will be the guiding principle upon which we will base strategic and operational decisions. Do you know, keeping people safe, seriously, do you know what I mean? Like, sorry guys, it's under your model of prohibition that these two juveniles have gotten access to drugs. Yes, because of prohibition, never has it been easier for juveniles to carry such absurd amounts of drugs. That's not for personal use, you know, that amount of cocaine and cannabis that they had there, that was not for personal use. So for ye to say that what you're doing is as part of this mission to keep people safe, sorry, no, it's not. If it's a part of your mission to keep people safe, then you would be lobbying the government to end this prohibition, to regulate the supply of drugs, because people like John O'Driscoll, the Assistant Commissioner of the Serious and Organised Crime Services, he said it himself. It's impossible to stop the drugs trade. It's impossible. We're trying it for 50 years now, and it's impossible to do it. You know this, but you're going to continue to do it. But yet you put out these, like, critical statements, you know. On one hand you say something, but on the other hand you're doing the complete opposite, you know. You're saying you want to keep us safe, but on the other hand you're enforcing a failed prohibition. You're fighting an impossible, you're trying to do an impossible task. And in doing so, you're creating this unsafe environment where never has it been easier to get for kids to actually get drugs and sell drugs, do you know? And if it wasn't true, then I wouldn't have another headline that says exactly that, which is Gardaí arrest a school kid in significant Grand Canal Dock search as part of a major operation. And, you know, again, failure of prohibition, kids getting caught up with this. This wasn't a small amount of drugs either, you know. It was a significant amount, you know. Here it is, and the boys putting up their tweet about it because it's important to keep us safe, you know. And this is a part of it, throwing up their old tweets. Somebody was paid taxpayers' money to type up a tweet thinking they were doing good by taking this off the street, you know. You want to make it a bit bigger there so you can see the actual image attached to this, the old dog. You know, is this a star dog? Or is it just straight up old dog? But you know, a school kid getting caught in this, again, it doesn't give an indication as to the age of the juvenile who was caught as part of the seizure. But it does say a school kid. Was he wearing a school uniform? Was this being sold within the schools? Like, show me the alcohol rings going on within the school grounds. You know, show me the kids bringing 6 packs of bud to school and selling it in school. You know, it's not happening. Show me the kids on Instagram selling alcohol to other kids. It's not happening. What do you do as a kid to get alcohol? You get on to your uncle or your cousin or your friend maybe who's 18, and you get them to go to the off license for you. What's happening there in that? Well, look, you as a young person are getting access to drugs, but what's not happening? You're not getting access to an organised crime gang. You're not getting recruited into the trade. You're not going to get adulterated substances. you're not going to get robbed. Well, maybe if you ask the wrong person, if your cousin's a shithead. But you know what I mean. There's so many benefits from regulation that are not there under prohibition. And again, you go back to that statement by the cops. You know, our mission for the next 3 years is to keep people safe. You want to keep people safe, Gardai? Join our campaign, Cannabis Reform Ireland, Decriminalise Drugs Ireland. Like, you know, this is the campaign. If you want to keep people safe, this is what we need to do. We need to end this prohibition. We need to disempower the organised crime gangs. We need to provide a safe supply of drugs to the drug users. Yes, people are going to use drugs in society, and if you really want to prevent people from harm of drugs, then better understand what drives them to use drugs that maybe abuses drugs, where it's like leads to harm for the individual. You know what I mean? For people who develop alcoholism, you know, who become an alcoholic, we understand it now. A lot of the times it's trauma driven, you know, it's escapism and stuff like that. We've understood it because of all the therapies that have gone on in the past. It's not a demon that you can just pray away, you know, and it's not like that. And that's the same for every other form of problematic drug use out there. There is an answer. And it's not prohibition. Prohibition is not the answer. No, regulation, safe supply, that's just a part of the answer. And then maybe better access to therapies, services, to understand what's driving problematic drug use within our society in order to deter problematic drug use, to reduce the harms of drugs. It's like, come on, Gardai, if you want to stay true to your mission, like, come on, join me, don't arrest me, join me. Maybe they are in part maybe supporting my campaign by not arresting me yet. Who knows? Touch wood. Don't want to be testing that one really too much. Right. And we drive on, guys, and we've a bit more news to get through for you today, because the Gardai also, you know, and keeping in line with this headline, we drive on to this next one where the Gardai seized an automatic gun, a silencer, and also a small quantity of drugs. And this was from last Friday. This was one that flew over my head anyway when doing the 420 news last Friday and also on Monday. But this was the gun, an automatic gun, like I would just say, like a little submachine gun, would you say? And then inside in the little glove, there's like a powdered substance. I believe it's probably a bit of maybe heroin or cocaine, maybe a bit of cocaine. Not a good mix, not a good mix at all. Giving the dude a bit of cocaine and a submachine gun, like, you know, he's definitely going to be getting fucking Tony Montana vibes, like sitting behind the table, you know. Say hello to my little friend. Do you know what I mean? Like fucking. It's not a good mix. And again, why are these two things together? Yes, prohibition. And who supports prohibition? Unfortunately, our Gardai support prohibition. Yes, they do. So yeah, unfortunate series of events there above in Dublin. A gun and cocaine being seized, and I would believe that if we were to take away prohibition, we would see a lot less of this. Also above in Dublin then, at the weekend, and this was on Sunday, where there was €6,000 in cash and a small quantity of drugs seized after 2 houses were searched in Harmonstown, Dublin. This is the seizure that was made above there in Harmonstown. It's labelled here as the J District community, maybe. I don't know if that means anything to anybody out there. I don't know, it was a little pun for the J Joint District, but no, they didn't get a whole lot of cannabis here. Like, what was it? Like, it looks like a little 50 bag, in fairness, on the table. A tiny bit of cannabis down there. And then you see all the bags, all the different bags. One of them looks familiar to me, actually. Monster of Terps. That's a dude that the boys used to be on about there before. Below at the gym, they used to be getting some stuff off of him through, I don't know, was it Instagram or Snapchat or something. But Monster of Terps there was one of the bags. But then I don't know, what did they get? Like, is this the dude just keeping a collection of all these different bags? Because he's got a kind of a pick and mix of bags there, but a tiny amount of cannabis. He's got a bit of a grinder collection problem then as well. You know, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 grinders. 7 grinders and 3 mobile phones. I think he's maybe a bit of a hoarder. And those are definitely burner phones as well. Like, they're the cheap old yokes there that you get that you'll throw them away quick, not a bother at all. So no denying here what was going on here between the two houses. But again, like, two houses searched, a number of Gardaí involved in the search for a number of hours. I can imagine that searching a house isn't something that happens very quickly. Imagine that takes time. So the whole time that they're doing this, they're not out there looking for the person who might have burgled your granny's house. The person who might have snatched your old doll's purse or something like that. And sorry to pick on the old or to pick on the females there and that, like, or to maybe your brother who got assaulted. There you go now, balance the genders. But that's what the Gardaí are not spending their time investigating when they're doing these raids. And look what they got, like, really, like, great, $6,000 in cash, like, the boys are delighted with that. But small dent, like, it means nothing in the greater schemes of things out there. Again, it's an impossible task to stop the drugs trade, and all they're doing here really is just hurting the most vulnerable. And maybe this person now is going to be indebted to a drug dealer out there who's going to maybe threaten violence or harm upon him if he doesn't cough up what they owe him. Maybe that person now is going to be forced to traffic drugs like they wouldn't have before. So lots to consider there within that. Oh, I'm getting a call there from Liz at the Irish Examiner. I'll have to call her back in a little while. Nice to see. But yes, a lot of failures here reflected by prohibition again. This isn't a success story at all. This isn't something to be celebrated at all. I see a lot more harms to come of this. So it's not to be celebrating and shaming them for putting this up on things like Twitter and stuff. Seeing less Facebook posts, but they had this one up on Twitter, patting themselves in the back as if they done something good. But we all know it out there, guys. We all know that the story here, that this isn't good. Like, you've seen the video there from Anyone's Child from Transform the drug policy NGO. That these celebrations of drug raids, that they're not good at all. So we drive on then from there, guys, and we go to another story. We go to, where is this one actually? Above in Dublin again. Another story from Dublin where a judge has warned a pair that they have to stay away from prison. Yeah, this was a funny one actually, where Anita Reid was the name of the lady here. She's 48 years of age, and she was accused of being the driver of the car that was used as part of an operation where they were throwing drugs over the wall of a prison. This was the Wheatfield prison. They were said to have thrown cannabis, cocaine and heroin into the prison. And the judge now has warned them to stay away from the prison after Anita Reid kind of argued within court that, hey, I need to go to the prison because my partner's locked up inside of there. Obviously, maybe that's who the drugs were destined for inside of there. But I suppose, again, a reflection here of how prohibition has failed. Like, you can't even keep the drugs out of the prison. Yeah, they caught this couple because they were a bit silly in how they done it. Like, but drugs always get into prison. When I was in there, I was offered them. It's no secret, like, drugs are in prison. We see the stories, like, they do the bloody raids on the prisoners' wings, and they find drugs and shanks and all of that stuff inside in a prison. So you can't keep them out of the prison. But I just thought it was funny here in this story that she was pleading with the judge to allow her to be able to go near the prison on days of which she's arranged for visits. But the judge kind of hit back to her and said, come here, you're after me trying to throw drugs into the prison there now. I'm hardly going to let you, well, I'm paraphrasing for the judge. I'm hardly going to let you go visit the prison after that. Like, so until we proceed with the hearing, you're banned from going anywhere near the prison. So that was the direction given by the judge in this case. So yeah, I just thought that was a funny one. This was Judge O'Shea. And that'll be back at the Blanchardstown District Court later in the year, possibly in September. Legal aid was granted to the pair after the court heard they were not working, and they have not yet indicated how they will plead either. So again, legal aid being granted here Probably throwing drugs over the wall to somebody who's in prison, probably for drug supply, maybe. Kind of theorizing on that one. But you have to imagine then, like, maybe was legal age used for their whoever it is, your one's partners, your one's husband, and now legal aid is being used here for this. Tremendous cost to the taxpayer, and at a time when it doesn't need to be like. I would argue the fact that if cannabis was legal, that maybe it should be used as part of a therapy within prisons to help prisoners maybe manage their fucking I don't know, their anger or something like that, their emotions. I definitely see cannabis to help with that. It could certainly make a safer environment for the prison officers in there anyway. I'd love to do a survey of prison officers actually. Would they be for allowing their prisoners have access to cannabis within the prison system? Maybe they mightn't like the smell. I'd say that might be the only downside to it for them. But yeah, I jest. So yeah, we drive on then, because there was another story in Ireland where there was 3 arrests made after €14,000 in cash and almost €34,000 worth of cannabis jellies were seized. So you see pictured here what does it say? 7 tubs of jellies. Crazy to think, like, 7 tubs of jellies are worth 35 grand, like almost 35 grand. Crazy. But yes, that is the work of prohibition in effect. Prohibition creating a system where 7 tubs, what you see pictured here, is worth like 35 grand almost. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So this was a raid that happened during the week there as part of a community engagement operation targeting the sale of drugs. This was the Gardai attached to the community engagement units in Kilmainham and Kevin Street Garda stations, and they made the seizures in Bluebell, Dublin 12 at around 6 in the morning. Oh man, imagine having that, like, just lying in bed or something like that, snoozing, you're on your 5th dream in the morning, and boom, in comes the door. This is the Gardai, this is a drugs raid. Imagine it, like the nightmare. Imagine it, like, imagine if they done that. Like, they say that there was a man aged in his 40s and a woman in her 30s. But imagine if there was kids here. Imagine if this was a family home, because, strange, like, it isn't, but outside the realms of possibilities that a family person could be dealing cannabis and cannabis jellies, and have these tubs there within their home, and warranted the Gardai carrying that out. Imagine that, like, kids in the gaff and a door blown in at like 6, 7 in the morning. That would be scary enough, like, for them to have to go through. But the man and the woman anyway, they were arrested. They were held at the Store Street Garda station, and there was a follow-up arrest. Then a third person was arrested in relation to that, and they're all back before the courts later in the year. And then in the article then on this, they go on about the Food Safety Authority giving out the warnings about THC, blah, 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 blah. A lot of bullshit and nonsense, because really, if they were worried about the dangers posed to the consumers of these products, then they would want them regulated, they would want them unprohibited, they would want them sold by reputable retailers and not by organised crime gangs who are free to do as they will. It's incredibly dangerous out there, the market now for consumers. You see these tubs, how can you as a consumer trust that what is in them is actually in them, because what's going to happen with these tubs? These guys are going to go online, they're going to buy maybe in from wish.com in bags of, I don't know, the Cali Bro or the Sour Tastic, what is it called, a Sour Patch guys, yeah, the Stoner Patch, yeah, those ones. They're just going to buy in those packets and they're going to repackage them. You see them here in these tubs, like, these tubs are plain packaging, there's no packaging at all in these. Meaning they're probably coming from an unregulated source, most likely coming from an unregulated source, and then they're going to be put into packaging to give the illusion to you as a consumer that they're coming from, oh look, it's got the Cali stamp on it, look, oh, it's warning Cali, like, Cali jellies buys this, and what is it, like, you just don't know. You don't know unless you test it. And are you going to test it as a consumer? A lot of the times the way you test things as a consumer is just throw it in your gob and see what happens, like. That's a very you're picking the plane, yeah, Russian roulette there, I suppose. You know, there's kind of maybe a bit of an analogy there for it at times. Maybe not as dangerous as Russian roulette, but still like has its danger there. Um, but yeah, dodgy out, like it's absolutely ridiculous. You know, you put a 21% tax on that, you know, 34 grand, 21% tax on that, and you know that's quite a bit of money. You know, look what you could do with your local J club with that sum of money. You're talking about maybe 7 or 8 grand there that you could be putting back into the local economy. If you were to just slap a 21% tax in this, and at the same time, not only did you put a 21% tax on it, but you put an age limit on it. And you put a quality assurance on it to the consumers, and you put an income tax there on the workers, and you know, you put an employment rights there over the workers. Oh my God, the benefits, they go on. End this prohibition once and for all, guys. Come on, like, if I have to get locked up for these views, beliefs, like, then so be it. I gladly go to prison for them. Like this prohibition is much more dangerous than these substances that they're trying to bloody prohibit, and it's ridiculous. And then in the final headline, yes, the final headline after an hour and 10 minutes of today's 420 news, armed cops make a dramatic raid of a cargo ship off of the coast of the Canary Islands with €400 million worth of cannabis on board. And this is after a tip-off from Irish investigators. Yes, this is our buddy Michael O'Sullivan of the MOAC, the Marine Operation Analysis Centre or something like that. MOAC Centre, based over in Lisbon, actually, funny enough. Casadas Drogas, if you're out there. He put me wide of that one. He told me that actually outside of the doors of MOAC are waxed up steps. So if you're a skateboarder out there, you know exactly what that means. Yes, there's skateboarders grinding the steps of the MOAC facilities, if you will. You know, so the boys are outside of there skateboarding, and what, you know, what's associated with skateboarders, and sorry the stereotype, but yeah, they do tend to like cannabis and hash and stuff like. So there's definitely some joints being smoked outside of MOAC. But meanwhile, MOAC then, like, you know, they're finding their way into the media more and more lately, like, you know, with all of these, like, oh, we tipped them off and we tipped them off, like, oh, and we helped out here, like, you know, and it's like, oh, it's these cross-border operations now. Isn't it great? Give us more money. And I see that as being their mission here. Otherwise, why would they be out there in the media, like, you know, glorifying the work that they're doing? Like, it's because it's about, you know, trying to get more money there from the old fund, the central fund within Europe, and there's a lot of it. MOAC get quite a bit of money. I don't know, was it 17 million, or am I crossing my wires there on the numbers? But they don't even have a crazy amount of staff there then either. Like, so what are they doing with all that money? But I have a video here of this dramatic raid at sea. So I will pop this up on screen for you beautiful people out there. Now I'll make it bigger so you don't have to look at me too much. Let's see the bottom half of me. I don't think there's any audio to this either. No, there's no audio to this. But look at the boys, like, right? They're out here, like, and you see the dudes, like, the guy on the front left of the ship there. He has his gun drawn. He's gun aiming. Like, at any point, I hope his safety is on, like, because, like, that looks like a bit of a choppy sea there, like, you know, and, like, his finger fits on the trigger, he could shoot one of his buddies. They're going in here to seize hash, like. The most dangerous thing here is outside of the environment that they're in, is the fucking guns they're bringing into this, like. Like, you know what I mean? Imagine if the dudes on the boats actually had guns themselves, and they started responding, you know, in turn, and they just started opening up. The boys with little pistols. Imagine if the dudes on the boat, like, just pulled out fucking, I don't know, a big M50 or something, you know, and just started unloading unmerciful amount of rounds at them, like, you know. Imagine if the boys had some sort of armor piercing rounds or something and sank the boys' ship or something. Do you know? Imagine. But no, and luckily for them, it was probably a bunch of timid sailors who, you know, were finding it hard to make a living as fishermen over in their home country. A lot of these people coming from Syria who were arrested in this, I believe there was 11 people arrested on board, and all of them were Syrian. So maybe they just fell on financial hard times. an organised crime gang comes along and says, "Hey boys, come here, look, you don't make much money out there fishing. We're going to give you fucking, you know, whatever, like we're going to give you however much, and you just transport this hash there over to Spain for us. Don't worry about it, look, and it'd be grand." And next comes the boys with their guns, like, you know, and you're shitting a lie. And it's like, I'm just a fisherman, like. I was just a poor fisherman, and that's the only reason why I find myself in this situation. Like, I'm not an organised crime fucking mastermind, like. Absolutely ridiculous, like. But, you know, yeah, that was it. Like, you know, those are the dramatic scenes. You see the boys running onto the ship there. Like, at any point, like, they could have been fired upon. Like, the stuff that they were taking off the streets was going to kill nobody. The mission they went on, at any point in time, any of those guys could have lost their life. And that was the case only a couple of weeks ago, where I believe it was a Spanish customs official actually lost their life when they were trying to board a vessel when their helicopter crashed into the sea. Yeah, that happened not too long ago. Like, that was only like a week or so ago when I reported on it here on the 420 News. Yeah, they were trying to board a vessel, and the helicopter which they were travelling on crashed into the sea. And yeah, one of the members on board sadly lost their life, you know. For what? For what? For this stupid prohibition? For this war on drugs? No, like, that's one life too many, like, you know. And then you've the many lives lost because of contaminated drugs, you know, needless overdoses out there. This campaign of misinformation, then drug users being uneducated about their drug use, and, you know, mixing drugs, not being able to be open about their drug use with their doctor, and having these drug-to-drug interactions. No, like, this all needs to end. Like, this prohibition of drugs needs to end, and this dangerous environment created by it needs to be undone, like, and lifted, and, you know, just done away with. Need to regulate cannabis, legalise the sale and supply of it. It's probably the easiest one. I think, you know, whatever about cocaine and stuff like that, there's pharmacies there. I think you just have to allow people to be responsible. You could abuse cocaine just as easily as you can abuse alcohol, I would imagine. I think some people can be responsible about their cocaine use, maybe. Maybe we can provide milder access to cocaine, maybe not so concentrated, maybe giving people access to the pace, that's kind of more the traditional use of it, you know. But an incredible amount of hash. This is all hash as well, guys. Man, that's like breaking my heart. Like, oh man, like, imagine all the hard work that went in there by the farmers to produce this. You know, a lot of hard work went in to produce this. There would have been a lot of happy end users to this product. Should it be high quality? And I've no reason to assume that it's not high quality. You know, the days of the soap are well gone anyway. Thank God. So yeah, and coming from that region as well, I believe that the ship originated from the kind of the Turkey region. So this could have been some like fucking good high quality Turkish, maybe Lebanese, like fucking hash. Like, oh man, what a heartbreaker. And the farmers who grew this, like, you know, did they get a fair price for their product? Imagine should hash be legal and cannabis be legal worldwide, and they to be free to be able to compete on the world market and sell their product out there. I'd imagine farmers in the Lebanon and stuff would reach a high price, yes, a high price for their hash on the global market, because it's a superior product. At the moment, it's just because of its notoriety, I suppose, out there, and at this in the Moroccan as well. Moroccans would also fetch a high price for their product on the market too. Are they getting that price currently from the organised crime gangs? No. Are they getting it from the supposed legal cannabis markets that are set up for industrial and medical cannabis? No, they're not. They're getting ripped off from both sides, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, this is the yeah, that was the last article there. I believe there is a picture down here. There he is. Oh, Michael O'Sullivan himself, that runs the Irish Maritime Analysis and Operations Centre, MOAC, and that's based over in Lisbon. What a waste of time. What a waste of effort. Again, like, John, happy, like, it's good that none of them lost their lives, but at any point in time, like, one of those men might have lost their lives, you know, maybe somebody's father, mother, you know, brother, sister. Sad reality. So that's it. That is it for today's 420 news, guys. I wish I finished on a better one. I wish we finished on a more positive note. Sad to report that all of that cash is going to be just destroyed now. So apologies, guys. But, we have a ball packed. We've something to lift our spirits. Got some of that 4872. And I got a rumbly old tummy as well there. So we'll stick around for a bit of a chat and a bit of bants. Where is me gone? Oh, there we go. We'll switch it on over, guys. Before I blaze it on up, we will get the... Yes, there we go. The 420 hotline is open. We will turn on me Bluetooth. We will connect her up. And boom, there we go. So right, we will stick around for about 20 minutes. I'm conscious that I have Liz from the Irish Examiner waiting for me to return a call. Yes, hopefully that's following up there on the cannabis picnic that was very successful in Cork recently. And I will be giving a shout out to the Kerry one as well. So something to look forward to in the Irish Examiner. Yes. But yeah, we're all connected up there, guys. If anybody wants to ring in and say hello, by all means do. I'm going to blaze this one up. Nice one, GB, for hooking us up today. I see Gerald Kelly out there saying, meanwhile, Kinahan bought his own cargo ship. That's true. Wasn't that in the media there, like, and I reported on it, that they got about half a billion euro back from the Spanish authorities there recently after the collapse of an 11-year case. Yeah, that was the Kinahans. They got a €500 million back in, like, cash and assets. Including like fucking military fatigues and bulletproof vests. And I suppose then they went away and invested in a cargo ship. I see DB Woodcraft as well. What about recent recent climate news? Couldn't cannabis/hemp sort that out? They certainly could, DB Woodcraft. I certainly would be including that within the reasons for campaigning to lift this prohibition once and for all. The prohibition has contributed to the environmental devastation that we're seeing on a global stage at the moment. People are growing cannabis indoors when it could easily be grown outdoors to an incredibly high quality too. Maybe not here in Ireland all year round, but certainly for a number of months in Ireland, we would be able to grow some incredibly potent cannabis outdoors, using maybe a greenhouse without the need for supplemental lighting, which contributes greatly to the carbon footprint then of cannabis production. So yeah, that's because of prohibition. I think the more prohibition lifts now, the more we will move towards sun-grown cannabis, much like what is produced by Foxworthy Farms. Yes, give a shout out to the boys at Foxworthy Farms. Foxworthy Farms grows sun-grown cannabis. I don't believe he uses lights on his farm. I don't believe he has supplemental lighting there either. So yes, all sun-grown, high-quality, organic outdoor cannabis there from Foxworthy Farms, and that is also possible here in Ireland, for a number of months of the year too, and we don't need to be growing indoors. Like, imagine if you could pop up a polytunnel out your back garden and grow maybe 10 or 12 plants, maybe even 20 plants inside of there, and that's you for the year, sorted, all your cookie needs and all of that stuff. Let's see who this is. Hello, welcome to Martin's World.
Martin.
How are we? Who do we have?
We have GB.
GB, how are we, GB? Welcome along, man.
I said I'd bring in and have a bowl with you, my man.
Nice one. I will get one packed back up again.
I'm just packing this beast here now.
Oh, very nice. What are you smoking on? You got the A472 or you got something nicer?
Yeah, the exact same, from the very same jar.
Oh, very nice, man. Honestly, it is exquisite. Yeah, proper. How long was it cured for? Because it's just really fucking nice. Like, was it in the jar long?
No, it's only curing out. This is going into week 3.
Oh, wow. So,
That's it. Like, he's pretty fresh as such, still out of the tent.
wow. So now that's what I'm just thinking. It's only going to get better from here. Like,
Mm.
oh my God.
So, it's not bad. It's good stuff, man. So, I have to say, I will always say the grower is important, but what's more important is the genetics.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyone can grow fucking good weed, but if you can get good weed from the same fucking thing every time, not always.
No, definitely not always. And that was TG. That was Temple Grower, wasn't it?
That's Temple Grower, yeah. Temple, one of the boys from High and Homegrown and Percy's, yeah.
Nice.
He's just a fucking ledge, man. He lives and like we all live weed. This man lives and breathes it, you know.
Yeah.
From the minute he gets up, like he works in extraction. All he does is weed. He's like a bit like you, Martin.
Nice. Nice. He's just got more freedom to do it legally. The lucky duck himself. But I suppose in doing that, like you know him a little bit of the process, like. But for TG to develop that strain 8472, he never got around to naming it. But he had to grow like how many plants was he growing at a time? Do you know when he was growing them out, the seeds looking for phenos? Any of that?
The 8472 has been going for. I think he's been developing it for like 2 years.
2 years, yeah, nice.
And he is grown out. Oh, I'd say easily 100, if not 200 plants.
Okay, yeah. But when he's running these,
in point down the right, because he's grown ones that don't even make the mix.
But he does micro grows with them as well, does he not? Where he might grow like 24 at a time just to find a particular pheno, or was that TG where these micro grows?
He does a lot of the micro grows. To be honest, I don't really know what way he done it and what way he has done. So it would be best to actually ask the man himself. I see he was in chat there a little while ago.
Nice, yeah.
I must find out.
I think I think that will be a nice interview actually to get TG on just to talk about it actually, seeing as he's the camera on now over in High and Homegrown. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to join me here for an interview, because I'd love to pick his brain as a seed breeder and pay compliments to such great genetics.
Oh yeah, well you see, Teach is legal. He has that benefit, you know, where the rest of us we're not. We're all fucking illegal.
Yeah.
But we're just a load of holes.
The one thing that I couldn't get over though, when he told me that it's easier to get a license to transport nuclear material in Canada than it is to get a license to transport cannabis. Yeah. that blew my mind.
Oh, seriously, like he was showing me the paperwork because he's just been renewing his license. Mate, there was like fucking 35 pages.
Whoa.
And this was back to back of shit that he had to fill in. And then he has to have fucking inspections and everything come. It's fucking crazy shit.
That's nuts. Like, that's not what we want here at all in Ireland. Like, that's over regulated. That's just going to lead to more black market, as was seen in Canada. Really, like, you have to say it was over regulation that killed the Canadians' market over there.
Yeah. You see, the thing is, Teach will tell you, in Canada, they're always going on about the illicit market still fucking doing really well over in Canada, which it is. But it's only doing well with people who smoke currently and have smoked prior and who will be kind of heavy consumers. Because they're not going to get the quality or the quantities that they need off a dispensary. But when you have new smokers and new people who are only coming in, they don't mind spending a couple of like $10 or $20 for fucking a couple of grams because they're gonna get fucking high on $10 or $20 worth. You know, they're gonna get their money's worth. Where we would smoke $10 or $20 worth or euros worth in one fucking bowl. You know, at a time. So the difference is with tolerances. So it's the people who have high tolerances and who have smoked for long times and who use it quite a bit for medicine, they have to pay for them. They still go to the black market, or the illicit trade, as we like to call it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit of a mess, all right. But, yeah. We'll get it right here. Do you have much faith going forward? We're not long more. We don't have long more to wait now before we get to see Gino's bill here for Ireland. What do you expect? Do you have any? Because you had a chat with him, and I really enjoyed our interview, and I'd recommend to other people out there to check out the high and homegrown interview with Gino Kenny. But he didn't really divulge much new information, did he?
He didn't because it's still going through, they're still in the process of drafting out all the legislation. It is going to be ready at the end of September, and it's going to be going, as far as I know, in front of the Oireachtas in October.
Yeah.
I know he is looking for, he's going to ask the House for a free vote, which will be fucking fantastic. But
crossed.
whether he gets it or not in the way our Parliament and all is run is just a fucking joke. But I do, the home grow side of it is a bit limited, to be honest. From what we were talking about, like he was talking about kind of 4 to 6 plants a grow. And I explained to him that like 4 to 6 plants wouldn't cover me, because I'd need 6 plants just to cover my medical needs for one grow. So that's 6 plants going from start to finish, to chop, to dry, to harvest, to everything. I'd need 12 plants minimum, because I need to have 6 ready to go straight into flower as soon as they're done. So like we were trying to explain to them that it really should go on what medicinal needs, like the way they do it in Canada.
Yeah.
They give you for whatever amount of grams you're allowed a certain amount of plants. GG was able to explain this. He explained it to me there a little while ago, and it was fucking, it's kind of fucked up, but it's not bad either.
Yeah.
So, again, it's better than the options that we have here.
Yeah, I think that they're very generous with what they offer. I think it's like up to 5 grams per day for people who suffer with chronic pain and stuff like that. They have kind of categories like that. But I'll definitely follow up with TG on that one, all right, and find out the complexities of it, because like I always say it like that, legalization is not always a legalization worth supporting, if you get me, that you should always fight for your legalization, not to be afraid to be specific about it, because for me, I would probably be like you, or maybe like TG actually, I would like to be able to grow more plants in order to maybe find particular genetics or something like that. Like I would be maybe a hobbyist in that regard. And that would be my interest, and to explore that hobby, I would need freedom to be able to grow like as many plants. Sometimes you could, like when you're looking for a particular pheno, you know yourself, you could be looking for you could be growing up to 100 plants. Like real seed breeders will be growing thousands at a time, you know, as a hobby level 100 maybe. Yeah, no,
okay, it's a bit muffled there, Martin, so I can't. I'm kind of only getting every second word. I think that the line is bad on my end. So I tell you what, we played this all quick and let you go. Somebody else can join in.
Excellent. GB, thanks very much, brother, for joining me. Peace. Yeah, I think maybe the connection was getting a bit dodgy there just towards the end with GB. But nice one for the call in, GB, and look forward to the session on Friday with yourselves at 9 o'clock over in the High and Homegrown. So it's always a fun one. So yeah, no, I'm going to follow up with TG as well. So TG, if you're out there, I'm looking for you. Ah, certainly would like to be able to pick your brain a little bit on that growing topic anyway. Other comments and questions out there, guys? Anything else particularly aimed at me? Um, boom. At GB, where did the name slash a number come from? 8472. I think I might be able to answer that one for you, DB. Woodcraft. I believe I believe the name was given as a kind of I don't know, like a bastard name, kind of. If you get me, it doesn't mean bad. Like, you just didn't get around to naming it. It just remained 8472, like, seed number 8472. Just given a seed number like that, I believe, anyway. And it just retained it then as it grew out. But maybe TG or GB will be able to update us on that one there in the comments, as you're now getting all of my words if you're listening in. I'm gonna have to work out the technicality between the fucking connecting the phone to the roadcaster, because it seems like my audio is coming through very muffled for people still. So I haven't figured that one out, but I'll get there. I'll get there. Podge says, are be allowed 2 tents, 1 veg tent, and 1 flowering tent? Or have no limit at all. Like, why are they limiting us for? Like, this is what I don't understand. Like, it's like, I'll be happy with 6 plants. I'll be happy with fucking 1 plant, to be very honest. Like, but that's not to say that I wouldn't want more. Again, as I say, as a hobbyist who would like to grow this plant, who has an interest in the different flavors and profiles that it can, like the chemo profiles it can offer, I would love to be able to have freedom to explore that. Having a corner for CBG, a corner for my CBD, and then, another few corners for a few different THC varieties, indica, sativas, hybrids. Why should I be limited? Like, if a cop comes into my gaff and I've got like fucking 55 jars full of cannabis, like, and I've got 100 plants growing at the back, like, why is he to assume I'm doing anything illegal? As long as I'm not selling it, if I've got maybe like he's evidence there to suggest that I'm selling it, like I've got fucking cash I can't explain, and all of that kind of irregular stuff, then fair enough. Like, but if I was literally just growing it and storing it because I'm a connoisseur of it and I enjoyed it and like to have it on offer, like the old digestive biscuits when somebody calls around, you like to be able to offer them tea and biscuits. I'd like to be able to offer you tea and cannabis. Who doesn't want that for their guests? Like, somebody calls around your gaff, it's nice to be able to roll out the green carpet. uh, yeah, I definitely don't agree with the limits anyway. I would always kind of detest them, but as I say, like, I would still welcome the ability to grow 1 or 6 or 10 or 12, but I would still always be kind of like, hey, why is it 12? What's wrong with me growing 13? Why is it 6? What's wrong with me growing 7? What happens if I grow 7? Like, why is this a need to put a fucking law in place? Like, nice one, GB. You're a legend. Nice one for the super chat, brother. That's much appreciated, dude. And also an answer there with the 8472. I was incorrect. 8472 is a Star Trek reference, and I believe, GB, you probably already told me that one actually, and I might have forgot. But yeah, it's a Star Trek reference, as TG is a Trekkie. Yes, he is a big Star Trek fan. I believe the other Star Trek name was Lokatosis. I don't know how to pronounce his name. The cyborg dude. Um, but yeah, that was another strain there by GB. Yeah, that's the one. Locutus. Yeah, I'm not even gonna. Yeah, is crystalline entity another Star Trek name? That's man. Uh, it is crystalline. Yeah, it makes it sounds. I suppose now that I think about it, maybe Star Trekky, like that they're off at another planet and there's a crystalline entity detected up ahead. Yeah, nice one, GB. We appreciate it. Craig Hogan, off topic, but just heard of contaminated weed making the rounds in Kildare and Dublin. It's not off topic at all, Craig, because it was actually featured in today's news. I'll move that there because I'm hiding the number. But yeah, Councillor Chris Pender over on Facebook issued that warning there earlier on today. But that was I do believe somebody else shared it somewhere else before I seen it on the councillor's page. But I could be incorrect in that, like, but it's good to see. Social Democrats councillor, and he also used the hashtag Cannabis Reform Ireland. Yes, Cannabis Reform Ireland. Nice. Good to see. Fucking plugs for that. So also, guys, if you're only joining, 21st of August in the Killarney National Park, Cannabis Reform Ireland, a picnic in the park. Yes, bring your sambos, bring your flasks with your tea. Bring your guitar, bring your hacky sack, frisbee, whatever it is you want to bring with you, and yeah, have a good time at our protest. Not my protest, the Kerry Cannabis Club. Yes, a great bunch of campaigners down below, and more than happy to support them in this one. And will be most likely in attendance there myself as well. All going well here. Myself and herself are going to go down there for her birthday and have a fine old time at Killarney for the weekend. Might even bring the kids along with us and make a family weekend of it. We'll see. So right, other comments coming in, guys. Russell Banta says it's in multiple Star Trek media. I'm definitely not a Trekkie, guys. As soon as Simpsons was over and Star Trek came on, and you might get that reference if you're about the same age as me or thereabouts. But on Sky One, which is sadly no more. Apparently, Sky One is no more. They're shutting down Sky One. Not that that matters. But yeah, fucking when Simpsons used to be over, Star Trek used to come on afterwards, and I used to kind of switch off then at that time. I believe that was definitely Simpsons and Star Trek. Like, hopefully I'm not crossing my wires after many years of cannabis consumption. Yeah, Greenbird. Yeah, it is indeed Martin. LOL. I think that line was even in it. That one. Yeah, that's it. Like, I'm not even a Star Trek fan, like, or anything like that. But you kind of know the team and maybe a bit of the lingo. Not gonna lie, I definitely probably watched one or two episodes, but I could never just get into it. I don't know why, because I am a sci-fi fan. I'm into that sort of stuff, but I don't know what it was. And Star Wars was another thing I could never really get into, and I'm probably going to get unsubscribed by half of my followers now. But I don't know. But later on, I actually liked it. But as a kid growing up, it was just never something I could get into. Oh, but give me a horror movie, like give me Chucky. I loved all that stuff, like. I loved Alien. That was a great movie. I really enjoyed those ones growing up. Like, Critters was a great movie as well, with the little furry balls, the dudes from outer space. That was a good one as well. Like. But yeah, like happy memories. I see if you would be sharing in yours as well. Simpsons and Star Trek were on every evening on BBC Two here. Atlantis was my favorite. Nice. Yeah, Atlantis. That was something I watched for a bit as well, but I don't believe I completed the whole season. I think I caught a few episodes, and I don't know. I just wasn't able to keep up with it. Yeah. Oh, I think Yeah, Stargate. Russell is into Stargate out there as well. Nice. I liked Stargate for a while as well. That was something I kind of was into a little bit. But I never watched all of it. I wasn't ever a fanatic of it, to be honest. But I did like it. Like, I heard good things, like as the what they did with taking science into account and stuff like that. They did kind of incorporate that, but I don't know. It was just like, it's too much drama. The Conjuring, yeah, Podge. That's a good horror, right, for sure. I've watched the most recent one there recently, and it's pretty good. Yeah, I enjoyed that one. Teresa saying, Trek, yes, Star Wars, no, could never get into it either. Nice, nice. All right, guys, we're going to shut down the hotline just in case anybody wants to call in. But get your comments in. I'm going to blaze up one more bowl. I'll stick around for about another like 3 or 4 more minutes, and then I will have to say goodbye because I want to get grub into me, and then we have to get the daughter to football practice this evening. Yeah, we're going up to the football practice. Great to get the kids out and active. That's me even considering going back playing a game with the local club, Delaney's myself. Wouldn't mind, like, but you go crack, like. It's been too long, like, Jesus. Last time I actually played a football match, it's been years. Be probably maybe 15, 14, maybe even 15, 14, 15 since I ever went onto a pitch to play a game of football. And for the people over in the UK, that's not soccer. Like, I'm on about football, like where we have the ball in our hands, kick it, get points. Yes, definitely considering it. Like, do you know what I mean? My kids are inspirations to me. Blaze one up there anyway of the 8472. It is, yes. Oh man, unfortunately, the reports it's the last one. But I did get some beans off GB. Thanks very much, and I have passed them to my buddy who does a little bit of growing, and hopefully I will have a little bit of 8472 and lactose and the green, the purple godbud and the crystalline entity. Yes, all from Temple Genetics. Nice. I look forward to them. So hopefully my buddy here does a good job with them, and I'll try to get some photos for you, TG, off my buddy. Sometimes it could be maybe a bit of a month or so between when I see him, but when I do see him, I'll see if I can get some photos. He hates taking photos. He's like, oh man, the metadata, have I? Fucking, they're watching me. Super Parlo. Blaze on up anyway, boys. It's almost 4:20 somewhere, guys. Shit! Before I'm getting sidetracked before I blaze up. I have to incorporate this into my show somehow, but I came across this again the other day. I know I came across it before, the 420 clock, 420worldclock.com. Yeah, 420worldclock.com. Check it out, guys. It's a great page. I wonder, can I pop it up here? Where's my Chrome viewer? There we go. Boom. There we go. Look, it's 11 minutes time in Cape Verde. So, guys, this is to all my all the people who are like-minded like us in Cape Verde. A 10-minute early 420 celebration. I have to incorporate this somehow into the show. I'm gonna maybe have this as the welcome screen next. But yeah, 420 world clock. I see Temple Grower and Greenbeard. Yeah, guys, get that into the show. It's nice to play around with it. It tells you where it's 420. I'll scroll down a little bit more and look. You see everywhere, like, you know. And not only that, it's 251 days, 5 hours and 49 minutes and 20 seconds to the next 420. Yes. So an incredible resource for ye dedicated stoners out there who love the 420 team. Much like myself, I get a great old giggle out of it, like, you know, and they have some nice stuff down here as well. So as I will be incorporating this into the show, and it'll just be the clock, I better give credit to them. They have like top 420 movies over here, 420 fun and games, timeless 420 music, and yeah, historical events on 420, noble births and deaths on 420. Apparently Avicii died on 420. There you go. Look, there you go. I didn't know that. There's nobody else jumping out from me there. Maybe there's somebody that would stand out to you out there. But yeah, look, that notable deaths and births on 420. Like I wouldn't have ever really thought of that. What is this website for? And some comments down the end. I should leave him a comment and say thanks very much. Because this is an incredible resource. I love it. 9 minutes hit Cape Verde. 9 minutes. Yes. But yeah, shout out to Cape Verde anyway. Oh, Cape Verde. You should be honoured that was a bowl of 4872 or 8472. 8472. I had the right numbers in the wrong order. Delicious. Excuse me. TG, I see you're out there. We will be in touch, buddy, and we'll have to get you over here for an interview on Martin's World. It's been a while since I got an interview up and running, and yeah, I wouldn't be mind if it was you who helped me shake the dust off. Also, Russell, I must follow up with you there, buddy, because we've pedal to the metal there on some fucking lab reports. Chat soon, buddy. Other comments coming in. Temple Gore saying, awesome man, I'm going to get that some pin-ups on a big map for places where the 8472 has been grown. Nice. That's a nice fucking resource that they have as a person. And as I say, man, I'm happy to contribute more feedback there on it. It was exquisite. Excuse me. Sorry guys. That was a big ball. I didn't blow it all out before I started talking. To amateur mistake. GB says, I'm going to have to get a bit more down to you, Martin. Oh, GB, I wouldn't put you to the hassle, but if you insist. No, but no panic at all. Honestly, man, you got more than enough beans down there that time to keep the body going for quite a while. Even the twisted ones actually as well. There's a nice selection there too. Other comments, Russell, Martin, can I rob your camera? No, but you may borrow it. Not a bother, Russell, man. Yeah, you can borrow it at all once it's not in use. Other comments out there. Jared Kelly, Temple Grower, get a few to me and the lads, and you can cross off most of County Cork. Nice, good to hear. K40 up. Nice shirt. Temple Grower says species 8472 more properly Borg killers. Nice. So that's the origin of 8472. So it's species 8472, and more properly known as Borg killers. Shout out to all the Trekkies. Fucking can't do that at all, man. Fucking cheated. Other comments, Russell Bantime, I like a doctor for hire in a very niche field. Nice. Greenbeard, well, it will be here when you get back, brother. Nice. Happy days, Killarney. Yeah, I see that as well. Miss Stowe is getting in there as well. Nice, happy days. Nice to see you in the comments there, Miss Stowe. Hope you're good. You're a godsend, GB. He's saying heading to the Canaries in the morning. Oh, safe travels, Mr. Always, and I hope you're able to enjoy maybe some of the clubs that are over there. I do believe that they have some clubs over there. So hopefully you can get in. Maybe you probably have it lined up already. Know where you're going, man with experience. But safe travels anyway. Let me know how it goes, what it's like going through the airports and all of that stuff next time you're in the comments. I'd be interested to see if it's any different now. I've heard different reports from people. I'm thinking of doing a bit of traveling soon myself. Don't have the vaccination, and we have to get the old swab so to test to prove I don't have it. So that's how I'll be traveling. Should be great fun. It's not nice. I got that thing back my nose once already. Like I don't look. I'm getting shivers now and all just thinking of it. Russell Banta, can someone name a strain that the furlingus, the furlings? Furlings. All right, yeah. You're gonna have to develop that one yourself, Russell man. If anyone can do it, you can do it. Nice. Alright, guys, I see more comments. I need some furlongs. I always picture Ewoks when I think of furlongs. Right, guys, enjoy your evening. Have a nice one. I don't know if Russell's going to be going live at some stage later this evening. Are you doing a live, Russell? Are you doing a pre-record? But I know Russell has some plans. So again, guys, give Slurban Tales, Slurban TALES. Stick it into the comments there if you haven't already done so, Russell. But Slurban Tales, give him a follow over on YouTube, and he might have something there later on or sometime soon anyway. But good to see more people putting out more content around cannabis as well, from different perspectives. It's great to see. Nice one, everybody. Have a nice evening. So I will say goodbye. I'll be back with more 420 news on Friday. And oh yeah, pre-record. Nice one, Russell. So there won't be any live there this evening. Still give him a follow, guys. But yeah, I will be back with more 420 news on Friday. And hopefully maybe I'll get that interview done with TG, so I'll have a chat with yourself sometime there, TG, as to a time that's appropriate to yourself. I'll also have the Chronic Pain Criminal over on Instagram. That's another lady over in the UK, I believe she's based, that will be on for an interview if they just organise a time and a day to get that done. And I have one or two other people who've also confirmed that they would do an interview with myself. So I just have to afford myself the time to do it now. But I have a number of deadlines that I need to meet very soon in order to complete this bloody college course. So it is just taking a bit of my focus away from things at times. So bear with me, guys. I will have stuff with you, but TG, that will be a fun one to do. We can get that done some evening, and there won't be much preparation needed. I'd say we'll fucking get along like two peas in a pod, I'd say. So yeah, guys, stay blazed out there and keep her lit. Peace. Happy 420, Cape Verde. Happy 420. It's 420. All right, I'm gone this time. Bye.